Robot and Zombie. The quest for the Camp Crystal Lake that doesn't exist but totally should because I'm the leader. It was the dead of winter. The crisp air carried the promise of snow, while a gray sky loomed over the small New England town of Hillgrove. The snow had already blanketed the streets, and everything seemed serene, except for the trail of destruction left in the wake of Robot and Zombie, trudging through the snow in search of the legendary Camp Crystal Lake. "Listen up, Z," Robot said, his voice muffled slightly by the black beanie pulled low over his head. He was, as usual, swaggering around like he owned the place. His flannel shirt was tied lazily around his waist, as if the cold didn't bother him. His black death metal t-shirt sported a band logo so unreadable, even he probably didn't know which band it was. This camp, it's where all the big money is. Think about it. We find it, sell tickets to some stupid horror attraction, and boom, we're swimming in cash. Zombie trudged behind him, his Slayer shirt hanging loosely over his rotting frame, his chain wallet clinking against his thigh with every step. His blank, half-dead eyes gazed off into the distance, but he wasn't exactly paying attention. He mumbled something that could have been cash, but it was mostly just a groan. "Exactly!" Robot slapped Zombie on the back, misinterpreting the groan as agreement. "You're finally getting it, Z. We hit this place, and it's gold. These townspeople don't know what's about to hit them. It's genius." Robot puffed out his chest. "And you know who's a genius? This guy right here." Behind them, Ben and Cathy followed, neither too thrilled to be part of this ridiculous escapade. Ben, dressed in his typical preppy winter attire, puffy coat, scarf, and gloves, looked every bit the pampered, entitled teen. His eyes darted around, clearly unimpressed. "This is so stupid, Robot. There's no Camp Crystal Lake. You made it up, just like that time you told us the mall was haunted, so you could steal Todd's allowance." "Shut up, Ben," Robot snapped back, rolling his eyes. "Just because you can't appreciate the finer points of advanced leadership doesn't mean it's not real. And besides, Todd was asking for it. He's too stupid to even notice his own wallet was missing." Cathy, however, wasn't quite as cynical. She had a soft spot for Zombie, and occasionally glanced at him with a weird mix of admiration and horror. "Are you sure it's here, Robot? Like, why would a horror camp be out here in the middle of nowhere?" Robot pointed dramatically ahead, as if expecting to find a sign or some sort of proof. "It's here, Cathy. I know it. My superior intellect tells me so. We're close. Real close." Just as the group rounded a corner, trudging through a frozen clearing, they spotted a familiar figure, Todd Birkin, walking slowly, his giant parka making him look even more sluggish than usual. He didn't notice them right away, too busy staring at the snow like it might reveal some hidden secret. Robot's eyes lit up with a mix of glee and mischief. "Hey, Todd, you heading to Camp Crystal Lake too? Oh, wait, you can't even spell camp, can you?" Todd stopped, glaring at Robot. "What are you talking about, Robot? There's no camp out here." Exactly what someone without a brain would say, Robot retorted, puffing up his chest again. "Of course there's a camp. Zombie here can confirm it." He turned to Zombie, nudging him. "Right, Z?" Zombie blinked slowly, then mumbled, "Camp." Todd rolled his eyes. You just made him say that. Before Robot could launch into another tirade, a heavy wind swept through the clearing, and snow began to fall thick and fast. It quickly turned into a near whiteout, making visibility nearly zero. "Great. Now we're all gonna freeze because of Robot's dumb idea," Ben whined, stomping his foot in the snow. "I could be home warm, playing video games." Cathy, pulling her scarf tighter around her neck, glanced around nervously. "Maybe we should go back? This storm's getting worse." "Nonsense," Robot shouted over the howling wind. "This is all part of the plan. The storm is clearly hiding the camp's location. It's just nature's way of trying to keep me down." "Storm," Zombie echoed in his usual monotonous tone, his teeth starting to chatter. As the snow piled up, the group took shelter behind an abandoned cabin they stumbled across. Inside, The windows were cracked and the cold air seeped through, but at least it was better than being out in the storm. Ben slumped against the wall, sulking. "This is the worst idea ever." "I wouldn't expect you to understand," Robot said, dusting off a nearby chair and sitting down as if he were on a throne. "Great leaders like me often go unappreciated in their time." Cathy peered out of one of the broken windows, a frown forming on her face. "Robot, there's no camp, is there? You dragged us out here for no reason." Robot shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Look, Cathy, sometimes you gotta think outside the box. Sure, there's no camp yet, but that's why we're here. We'll make it. That's what visionaries do." "I'm a visionary." Just as Cathy was about to protest, the cabin door creaked open and a gust of wind blew in, scattering snow across the floor. Standing in the doorway was Vanessa, a smirk on her face as she stepped inside. "You losers still looking for that fake camp?" she asked, clearly amused by the sight of them huddled together. Her eyes shifted to Zombie, and she gave him a little wink. "Hey, Z! Long time no see." Zombie groaned softly, his gaze shifting to Vanessa as he instinctively tried to reach for her head. Cathy quickly slapped his hand away before he could make any moves. "I swear, Robot," Vanessa said, shaking her head, "you come up with the dumbest plans. And somehow, people still follow you." "That's because I'm a born leader," Robot shot back. "Besides, you're just jealous because you didn't think of this genius idea first." Vanessa snorted. "Yeah, sure. You keep telling yourself that." As the storm outside began to die down, the group gathered their things. The idea of finding Camp Crystal Lake had long since faded from anyone's mind, except for Robot, who still believed they were close to some kind of breakthrough. "Next time, we're definitely finding it," Robot declared as they made their way back to town. "And when we do, I'll be swimming in cash while you're all wishing you had listened to me." Behind him, Zombie shuffled along, groaning softly, while Ben, Cathy, and Vanessa shared a knowing look. One thing was certain. Robot wasn't done leading them on more wild goose chases, and Zombie wasn't done mindlessly following him.